Don't blink, it's your boy Yink. Welcome to the show. Guys are doing well because I'm having a wonderful day on the 16th May 2025. And what you're saying, dude, you were supposed to make videos at the sunset. Well, guess what, dude? Didn't have enough batteries. We're still at 20% because this mofo had to charge. So we'll see how much we can do. We have two videos left to do. So let's see how it goes. It should be super simple. The first video that I wanted to do was the behind the scene of the sport with Jake Paul. We just watched that. So this morning we watched Liver King. We just watched Jake Paul. Because again, am I a fan of Jake Paul? No. But he did bring a lot to the sport, and I just find those documentary fascinating because I'm not a sports guy. I'm a show business kind of guy. This spectacle kind of guy, and for some reason, this is exactly what I talk about in the documentary. So Jake Paul is a showman, and that's kind of what I liked about the documentary. Now, sadly, I can call myself very sadly. Trust me, it isn't in my CV or my resume. It isn't on my Tinder account. It is on my LinkedIn. I don't know why, but I'm kind of a Jake Pauler. Now, if I ever enjoy Teep 10, no, I was too old. Am I ever watch some Jake Paul content? No, I was too old. However, I will say this. I know a shit ton on Jake Paul. I know from the Shane Dawson documentary of a sociopath that age beautifully with Shane being canceled. We saw that. We saw a lot of Jake Paul documentary. We watch the Paul family. Actually, we watch a lot of shit from Jake Paul. And again, I have to respect the guy. Do I like him? I think he plays a character that sometimes I think it's hard to understand who he is when he's not playing a character, but I do like him. He's a hard worker, he works hard, gorgeous girlfriend that has to see something in him. Um, and yeah, he saved the sport. So this was a documentary on his boxing career. Now, I had this problem. We did watch Liver King today, so I was able to compare. They both YouTuber. Liver King, I don't know if I could call him a YouTuber because I think he's more live on Instagram. So he's an Instagram or a TikTok or TikToker. Um, they spent a large portion of the. So what I did like was Liver King was an hour 20, Jake Paul was an hour 20. Jake Paul, there was a lot more to say than Liver King, which is crazy. Trust me, but I know. So with Jake Paul, they spend a lot of time with it's odd. They spend a lot of time with the beginning of the career, which I understand. We want to create who is Jake Paul. We want to make people sure that people understand who is this kid that we're talking about. So from the race to fame and his problem. Right away, I'm having a problem because we're seeing Logan a lot, and it's not because I don't like Logan. He's his brother. I understand that, but we haven't heard his mom once in the whole documentary. We basically hear his dad a couple of times because his dad was accused of abusing him as a kid physically, not sexually. So you hear that there's drama about the dad that they don't talk. That's the only thing. That's the only time that we hear the dad talking. I think the mom says one thing when he loses his fight. And she's like, "Hey, don't worry." And you're hearing Logan and Logan and Logan and Logan, and I understand that here is older brother. I know that, but the parents, they're important too. They're really important too. And then with Logan, it was a self promotion. And what I really, really disliked about the apparition of Logan was you had a promotion for Prime, you had a promotion for Impulsive. Jake Paul is sponsored by Celsius, and even in his Netflix documentary, he didn't even put Celsius bottle once. So your brother, who is the main star of the show, um, the main star of the show was diligent enough to not put personal interest there, but you weren't able to. So the first part of the show is the YouTube thing, YouTube drama, how it became one of the most hated, and then how Logan filmed the Japanese forest, suicide forest at Akiri. Jake Paul lost a lot, so he lost a lot of the sponsorship. Then he was looking for an outlet, so he started boxing because KSI. So the real reason Jake Paul started that's what they don't say. They said he was looking for an outlet. The real reason was because Logan Paul did something really fucked up, and then him and Jake Paul lost a lot of viewer, a lot of money. So then they became kind of irrelevant. So then KSI, who was a bad guy, No, sorry, who called them bad guys, did a fight, and KSI has a younger brother, which is Deji. It was Logan Paul versus KSI, and Deji, which is the younger brother of KSI, versus the younger brother of Logan Paul, which is Jake Paul. And then we started fighting, and then we had the fight. What I really loved, I loved the documentary. It was really well made. So what I really enjoyed about the documentary was, again, the YouTube part. I love YouTube, but I was watching a sport documentary, so I'm not gonna be watching a vegan documentary promoting bacon. You know what I mean? Even though I love bacon, right? I can watch a vegan, and this is a perfect example. I can watch a vegan documentary without wanting to be vegan, without giving a fuck about being vegan. I don't need to be put in with meat, you know? So, the fact that they talk about the sports, this boxing sport, how it was dying, they really put in the effort to showcase the boxing. A lot of footage from Don King. Don King, if you don't know, is the father of promoters. So before we had boxers, and those boxers, before that, even athlete, even French Canadian hockey player, French Canadian, they were working jobs. It wasn't a pay. It wasn't a job to be an athlete. So people like Don King really put people on the map. They were doing promotion, and yes, Don King was later found out to be like a kind of like a crook because he put in a lot of the money he stole from a lot of his fighter, but he did something for the sport that was amazing. We see the rivalry between Dana White, and just like Logan Paul, the rivalry between Dana White is amazing. But it does feel like if it wasn't there, there's not enough to talk about. Jake Paul isn't interesting on his own, so you need to have Logan Paul and Dana White. No, Jake Paul is interesting. You just have to give the guy a chance. Seeing the fight, seeing the adversary, seeing the promotion, seeing the at the end the Tommy Fury, the Fury family, how nice that was. And again, it's so cool because that they don't do parallel. I'll do it for you. The beginning of the Jake Paul career was brother fights, and then the end of the documentary is a brother fight, the Tyson and Tommy Tyson, Tyson Fury versus and Tommy Fury, Tyson and Tommy Fury and Jake and Logan Paul. So two brothers fighting, which I absolutely love. Now you didn't see Tyson fighting against Logan; you would have destroyed Logan. But still, we see all the sporting events. What I really enjoy is they talk about. See, I was complaining about the YouTube, but I really did like the YouTube getting into the sport of boxing because they saved the sport. But not about that. As we're seeing somebody called Amari. Amari, I love him. He's very hated in the sports fight industry because he's asking questions. He is kind of like he's the asshole in the press conference. So he asked the question that everybody wants to ask, but nobody has the balls to ask. So he's very hated. However, there's a lot of fighters that like him because he has the guts to say something. For example, there's a lot of footage between him and Rampage Jackson, and Rampage Jackson's like, tell me to my face, and then Amari's like, oh, I'm not gonna tell you to his face, but still, it's just a good show. I just love it. That being said, it's tough, dude. It's tough. It's really tough. Fuck. It was a good documentary. The fact that they were able to say, okay, well, the YouTuber didn't belong there. The old guard. We're talking about the old guard. We're talking about also the heel. Now, technically speaking, the heel sell ticket, but the heel is more for wrestling than boxing. So the heel is the villain, how it played in characters. Talk about the relationship between like Nihisa, which is the manager of Jake Paul, and Jake Paul himself, which was really cool. Talk about his hatred for YouTube and the number, and how boxing was more so his style. When it comes to substance, when it came to the sport, it was really interesting. When it came to the personal life, a little bit less. Simply the fact that we had every single fight till Tommy Fury. Simply the fact that we had every single promotion till Tommy Fury. Simply because we had so many people. And again, Jake Paul is hated, and they had that into the documentary. They had people doubting him, and people doubting him, and people doubting him. And it felt like, again, we're trying to make a villain, right? So I would have loved to have a problem child that we understood. Not a villain. But at the end, I got my boy, fucking Mike Tyson, of all people. And Mike Tyson, possibly, not the most vocal person. He's very reserved. But he actually saved the documentary at the end. He's like, Jake Paul's not a villain. And everybody till this point called him a villain. He's a anti-hero. And Tyson was like, I like the kid. And then the reporter was like, do you see yourself in Jake Paul? And Mike was like, yeah, a lot. So Jake was the guy that kind of, without saying it, made us understood Jake Paul. Not as a problem child, not as a heel, not as a character, not as a villain, but as a human being, also a flawed human being, you know. Also, The whole documentary is about his win. Yeah, 6 win, and then he fight and he lost the last one. I know it sucks to lose a fight, but I think it's a perfect way to end the documentary because you had the rise to fame and now you have the beatdown, and then you have the hero coming back up. So the revenge and the rebirth and the phoenix, right? So the documentary in itself was really nice. I actually loved it. It was entertaining. I watched it at one time the speed. Wasn't bored once. Usually watch at 1.5 times the speed. So that was definitely something. Super enjoyable. Once again, recommend watching. It's an old thing. It's an old thing, but I never watched it before. So for me, it's new. Anyway, love you guys. Take it easy. Peace.